I've been megadosing 10 to 15 grams of glycine every day for 2 years. I think glycine is one of the safest and most effective health supplements that you could take. It supports collagen turnover for smooth and soft skin. It supports glutathione synthesis for your body's antioxidant system. It reduces visceral fat around the organs. It lowers blood sugar and protects your skin against glycation. And it improves sleep and reduces mental anxiety. Here are the biggest things I noticed from taking large amounts of glycine. I've seen my visceral fat decrease from 350 grams to 54 grams. My skin health has improved, specifically some fine lines on my forehead that I had 5 years ago, which are now completely gone. My sleep quality and speed of falling asleep are much better, and I'm clocking in 100 sleep scores on a regular basis, whereas it used to be much worse. And my blood sugar levels are optimal, despite me eating over 300 grams of carbs every day. Now, these results aren't only because of glycine. I've also changed a lot of things about my other routines like diet, exercise, and other supplements. However, I do think that at least some of them, especially the skin benefits, can be attributed to glycine. For the rest of this video, I'll go through the scientifically proven benefits of glycine and what's the optimal dose. If you want to see future deep dives into supplements and all other aspects of health and longevity, then make sure you click a like and subscribe. Let's talk about the skin, because that's one of the biggest benefits I saw personally. Glycine is the main amino acid in collagen, and it makes up 30% of collagen. Glycine is essential for collagen turnover. You need a lot more glycine than you do the other two collagen amino acids, proline and hydroxyproline. The optimal amount of glycine you need per day is estimated to be 15 grams, although we don't know the exact amount. Out of that, 12 grams are required for collagen turnover, and 3 grams are needed for other vital functions, such as glutathione, creatine, and heme synthesis. Your body also makes 3 grams every day, but it's not enough. Glycine also supports collagen and skin anti-aging through the inhibition of AGEs, or advanced glycation end products. AGEs are these glycation molecules that form during high temperature cooking, or if you're eating caramelized or very sugary foods. AGEs are one of the biggest things that degrade and damage your collagen by activating what's called MMP1, matrix metalloproteinase 1, which is an enzyme that breaks down collagen. AGEs are also implicated in other diseases like Alzheimer's, heart disease, diabetes, and cancer, so you don't want to have too many AGEs inside your body. Glycine inhibits the formation of AGEs by lowering blood sugar and increasing glutathione production that protects against AGEs. So, a higher glycine intake can prevent the glycation and degradation of skin collagen. I take around 10 to 15 grams of glycine every day. I usually mix it with tea or coffee or even yogurt or cottage cheese because it tastes sweet. What also gets me excited about glycine are its potential lifespan extending effects. Glycine is one of the few supplements that's been seen to extend lifespan in the National Institute of Aging's Interventions Testing Program, ITP. The researchers saw that a diet comprised of 8% glycine extended the lifespan of male mice by 6% and female mice by 2%. The ITP is considered the gold standard for testing the effects of different molecules on lifespan. One of the mechanisms by which glycine can extend lifespan is thought to be through methionine restriction. Restricting the essential amino acid methionine that you get from animal protein and muscle meat has been seen to extend lifespan in many animals, including human cells, by up to 30%. However, glycine supplementation can provide equal effects as methionine restriction without restricting methionine. So the problem here isn't the excess methionine, it's excess methionine in relation to glycine. You can fix that by increasing your glycine intake with supplements or food. Now, obviously, I can't tell if glycine is extending my lifespan because it's, impossible to measure, but I am in otherwise excellent health, which of course isn't because of glycine alone, and glycine only contributes to maybe like a single-digit percentage to my health. However, I have seen glycine counterbalance my methionine intake. Methionine restriction has been seen to reduce visceral fat, as well as increase fat oxidation while reducing adiposity in humans. Interestingly, low glycine status is also seen to correspond to higher visceral fat levels in humans. After reducing my methionine intake and increasing my glycine dose, I've seen my visceral fat drop from 350 grams to 54 grams. Again, I also incorporated more cardiovascular exercise, but the reduction in the methionine-glycine ratio also had a major effect in my opinion. Let's also talk about sleep. Glycine has many benefits on sleep by lowering your body temperature and increasing GABA signaling, which is the brain's primary inhibitory neurotransmitter that promotes calmness. There are studies that glycine does improve sleep quality at a dose of around 3 grams before bed. That's what I take in the evening with my tea. Now, glycine is generally very safe, and I've never had any negative symptoms from taking large amounts of glycine. I personally have taken up to 30 grams of glycine per day, and there are studies where they even give people 90 grams of glycine without side effects. I mean, glycine is a natural amino acid you would get from gelatin and collagenous tissues like bones, ligaments, wings, tendons, etc. However, there is a group of people that might react negatively to glycine and they might get nauseous, anxious, or headaches. And the reason for that might be genetics and their neurotransmitter profile. Here's what Dr. Tyler Panzner said about it in my recent podcast with him.
You know, one of the things glycine does, it's a coagonist at the NMDA receptor. So this is a receptor for neurotransmission, for how we, feel and how we behave. And it's a coagonist, meaning glutamate is an excitatory neurotransmitter. And it revs up the brain. But it also helps with memory. Like we need it, right? But too much can be a bad thing. Now, without glycine, or I think serine on either end, glutamate can't activate the receptor. When you activate it, it stimulates you. Magnesium blocks it. That's why it chills you out. Ketamine blocks it. That's why it's pretty much a tranquilizer, right? So I think for some people, they have mutations in that NMDA receptor. So, well, not that I think, I've seen this. They have mutations in this NMDA receptor, and theirs might be extra sensitive, more overactive. So the glycine can help stimulate the receptor, but if you're more sensitive to glutamate, or if you have more glutamate floating around in the brain, it can lead to those symptoms. Because again, if instead of labels, we think in terms of pathways, excess glutamate, whether it's mutations in glutamate signaling or excess glutamate or symptoms from too much glutamine, which gets converted into glutamate, all the same symptoms, right? The headaches, the anxiety, the insomnia. So yeah, that's one, I'm trying to think. That's not I don't see that super commonly in people I work with. And glycine's one of those things that even if you don't have a higher genetic need for glycine, I will utilize it a lot of times, just since a lot of us aren't eating, we're not consuming enough, right? Like, when's the last time someone ate a bone or a tendon or a sinew, right? Unless you're doing a lot of bone broth, or unless you're doing, a lot of nose to tail carnivore, you're going to be missing out on a lot of that glycine.
I've personally never gotten any symptoms from glycine, but if you are getting symptoms, then just reduce the dose. Here's a quick recap of the benefits of glycine. It supports skin collagen turnover, counteracts AGEs, resulting in less aged skin, increases antioxidant defense through glutathione, lowers body temperature, which is good for exercise and sleep, increases calming neurotransmitters like GABA, lowers blood sugar, has cardioprotective, neuroprotective, and liver protective effects. Glycine is one of my favorite supplements and I take it daily, but there are at least 14 other evidence-based supplements that also have a lot of scientifically proven benefits. Check out my recent video about this, where I share the research and the optimal dose.